Today, we're going to be giving away $100 to the first person who guesses villain's hole cards. Each hand is going to be worth $50. The suits don't matter. You only get one guess per hand, and comments are going to stay open until somebody gets it right. Seeing as I have no earthly idea what villain's hole cards are, feel free to steal my guesses, and don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, so for the first hand, everybody folds to Jon in the small blind. He looks down at an ace of clubs, 10 of spades, and opens to 3 big blinds. Villain defends. Pretty standard stuff. We get a flop of ace, 5, deuce, rainbow. The flop checks through. Now you turn top 2, Jon, on the 10 of clubs turn. So ace, 10, 5, deuce. You have ace, 10. Tell me, what are you thinking as it relates to betting? And sizing selection?
I think my strategy here is very, very simplistic. I have a really good hand and I'd like to put as much money in the pot as possible and get called by whatever bluff catchers the big blind feels like bluff catching with. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and plan on also putting in a big river bet, hopefully, as long as I can fade some sort of 4-liner.
To play devil's advocate a little bit here, when you choose the overbet size on the turn, you could also go for a check raise, right? It appears as if you're targeting villains ace X when you choose this size. If you were to go smaller, you'd be targeting villains like, 10X or 5X or, their gut shots if they have some of those like Trace X suited or something like that. But when you choose the overbet size, you're specifically going out of your way to target ace X. And I did wonder, like, you could also go for check raise if villain does want to play a 2-street game with their top pair.
Yeah, I think that the target range for bluff catching here for my value bet here is a little bit wider than ace X, mostly because of the wide formation, the blind versus blind single raise pot. I wouldn't be shocked to see the big blind just call here with 10X. I also think that there are a handful of like pair plus draws that are going to check back flop a hand like 4-5, 5-3 that I think are also going to be hard pressed to fold even facing an overbet on the turn. So I think that I can actually target a pretty wide range with overbet, and that's just due to the wide formation.
All right. So for what it's worth for the watcher and the listener, I don't know what villain has here for this episode. So I'm just going to be leaving as many clues as possible, and I can be completely off base at the end. So you're not in good hands here with my analysis and guessing villain's exact hole cards, but I'll do the best.
And I'm going to do everything to muddy the waters.
Yeah, and Jon's just going to make it confusing because he's kind of like Scrooge, getting him to give away $100 is not an easy
villain
challenge.
Could have queen jack, king queen, king jack. I mean, oh my god, I don't even know.
7 deuce off, 6 7 suited, who knows? But we do learn something because villain does call your overbet on the turn, and we get a 7 of hearts river, which is about as blank as they can come. So nothing changes. There's $19 in the pot because you finally moved down in stakes where they respect your raises on WSOP.com. I don't know what the deal is with this $19 pot, but
that's a lot of money, man. $19, you can do a lot with $19.
Yeah, I don't know if you're near like Bustoville or I don't know what the deal is here. I guess next week if we see you playing 25 NL, then we'll know that things have gotten really, really drastic and gone downhill.
You probably know that this overbet on the river was too thin if I'm playing 25 NL.
All right. So for the river, you overbet the turn. Now you're overbetting the river. Just briefly talk about, why you chose this size over, pot or 70%, etc.
Again, very, very simplistic thought process here for me. I have a really good hand and I'd like to try to get called for a really big bet. I think that there are going to be bluff catchers in their range that, still call 125% on the river. I think their ace X is probably most of their ace X, I assume, is calling. All of their 2 pairs going to be calling. It's really nice having top 2 so that we don't really ever have to worry about, value cutting ourselves versus 2 pair. I think there's a lot of removal to, hands that are stronger than ace 10. Once they check back the flop, don't think they ever check back, or I think they would rarely check back a straight or a set or something like that. And like pocket 10s, pocket 7s, even pocket 7s probably doesn't even call the turnover bet that frequently, but like hand like pocket 10s, I'm not too worried about in a single raise pot. I assume that hand would 3-bet pre-flop almost pure. So just very confident that I have the best hand here and really just trying to win as big of a pot as I think I can win versus their bluff catching range.
Yeah, high level stuff. You have a really strong hand, and so you want to bet a lot of money. It's, it may seem simplistic, but you would be surprised at how many times I've watched people fail with not betting a lot of money when they have a really good hand. So my guess here is going to be King 10 off. Again, I have no earthly idea if that's correct or not, but comment down below. King 10 off if you want to go with the chalk, but I honestly have no earthly idea. They could also have, ace 6 off. Those would be my two guesses. So comment down below. And now let's look at the second hand in this Guess What Villain Had episode of Tactical Tuesday. All right, so for the second hand, everybody folds to you in the cutoff. You open with 9 of spades, 9 of hearts, and the small blind goes ahead and 3-bets. Pretty easy to defend. Anything to note here? Small blind 3-bets a 7, which is on the smaller side.
Yeah, it's small. Don't know much about the small blind. These are my first few sessions on WSOP, so I don't really know much about any of the players. The 3-bet size is a little bit smaller than I would expect. I think I would expect the 3-bet closer to the 9 big blind, 10 big blind range. But maybe this is a really strong player with a smaller 3-bet or with a smaller 3-bet size strategy pre-flop.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Thank God for the small 3-bet size with your dwindling bankroll. If it was a couple extra dollars, we may not be able to have
no 9 on the flop though. I don't know how I'm gonna eat.
So there's $14 in the middle. The flop is King 6 to diamonds. The small blind checks and you check behind. Any thought of betting the flop with your 9s here after the small blind checks?
Not sure. I think that the small blind checking is likely indicative of no King X, and I would also expect the small blind to probably stab quite frequently with their bluffs, like a hand like ace queen or something like that on King 6. So I guess my interpretation of the small blind not c-betting this board is that they have a hand with some sort of showdown: queens, jacks, 10s, 7s, 8s, maybe some sort of 6x, maybe some sort of strong ace high that they're trying to get to showdown. That's sort of how I was thinking about their flop range.
Makes sense. And I think you're going to learn a lot by what they do on the turn. I think queens will start betting on the turn, and you'll be pretty good to go if they check the turn. Mm-hmm. So flop checks through, and turn is a 5 of hearts. So the board is now King 6 5 with the King 6 of diamonds. The small blind does in fact check, and so now you've got the green light to go ahead and claim yourself some value. Just a matter of what size are you going to go. Looks like you went about half. Any rationale for betting half pot?
Kind of the opposite rationale of the last hand. My hand is pretty good, but not amazing. So I'm going to bet a medium size and try to get called by some worse hands. Make sure I, get called by 7s, 8s, 6x, maybe even some sort of 5x, like ace 5, that 3-bet pre-flop, and check the flop. If he doesn't stab as frequently as I would.
All right, cool. I'll buy it. You certainly want to get called by the bluff catchers and the worse hands. So they call. The river's a tray. So King 6 5 tray. There's no flush available. They check the river. Once again, you opt to value bet half pot. Same rationale as the turn, I imagine.
Yeah, same thing. Targeting some of the worst pocket pairs. If I do value cut myself in the spot, I would expect it to be the occasional queens, jacks, 10s that decides to check the turn instead of betting the turn. Hard to see a different hand that I value cut myself against. And then I think some of the worst hands I can probably clearly target are just, some sort of 6x, pocket 7s, pocket 8s, maybe even some sort of 5x. I'm not betting particularly large on the river. I think I still, maintain a whole bunch of bluffs. Some natural ones are going to be like hands like 7, 8, 8, 9 that go bet. So wouldn't be shocked to see the small blind, bluff catch with, hands that are relatively weak. Yeah, that's just how I was thinking about this spot.
Yeah, so for the watcher, my pro tip here, I'm going to say that they have ace queen off or ace jack off. Again, I don't know the result, but if I were commenting, those would be my primary comments. So going to be a lack of conclusion here on Tactical Tuesday. I do know that you win the pot both times, right? So that should be helpful.
No, you don't know that.
Oh, I don't know that. Okay.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
That's not clear. Yeah.
Okay, it's not clear. Okay, so who knows whether you win each of the pots? I would change my guess if you lost the pot. You know, I don't think I would guess ace queen if if you lost. But yeah, go ahead and click the subscribe button on YouTube. What we're going to do is I'm going to pin whenever somebody guesses it right in the comment section, I'm going to like the comment, reply, as well as make a post myself and pin the results at the top of this channel's or this video's comment section. And so, yeah, if there's nothing pinned, then it's open, and it's going to be open until somebody gets both of these right, or two different individuals get each of them right. And that's all I've got for this.
Hope nobody gets it right, because I'm going to be giving away like half my roll if someone
somebody bust Jon.
Nails it twice in a row. So yeah,
please, somebody.
You want to send me back down to 25?
Yeah, somebody break Jon in the comment section.
The way to do it.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next week. Don't miss out on our next great poker adventure. Hit that subscribe button and join the CPG family.
This is Tactical Tuesday on Chasing Poker Greatness with your hosts, Brad Wilson and Jon Chai. Coach Brad approved. Are you a lone wolf searching for the ultimate pack? The CPG Wolf program is a close-knit brotherhood hell-bent on one thing only: chasing poker greatness. Powered by bleeding-edge wolf strats and led by Coach Brad and his lieutenants, CPG Wolves are systematically prepared for almost any spot they'll encounter on the green felt. If you want to plug into an elite team and have a step-by-step game plan to realize your full poker potential, you can apply at cpgwolves.com. Space is limited, and the pack is only as strong as its weakest member. So only the hungriest, grittiest, and most driven will be accepted into the program. Applications are open at cpgwolves.com.